Europe is full of iconic destinations, but sometimes you just want to skip the crowds and check out something a little bit more special. So from the hidden towns to the underrated gems, these spots in this video will offer an unforgettable experience without the tourist chaos. So let's take a look at 10 of the best, less touristy places to travel in Europe. Number 1. San Marino. So what would the world's 5th smallest country be like? San Marino is a small, independent and landlocked republic that's situated in northern Italy, easily mistaken as part of its neighbour Italy. But this tiny and ancient republic on the slopes of Mount Titano makes for the perfect day trip, especially from Rimini. Now, Monte Titano, the site for the town centre of San Marino that has existed since 301 AD, and even UNESCO recognises this area for its many preserved towers and its other architecture. You can walk the path of the medieval stone walls, connecting the 3 fortresses which you see here. That's protected the settlement during the early days of Italy's feuding city-states. But the good thing is San Marino is relatively small, so you can spend a few hours roaming the mountaintop and enjoying the atmosphere, especially for its stunning views. And if you do base yourself in Rimini, you can pretty much hang around in San Marino for just a day. Number 2. Taormina, Sicily. So this beautiful destination is perched on a rocky promontory that's high above the sea, and it's been the most popular tourist destination in Italy for a couple of hundred of years, ever since it became an integral part of the Grand Tour. Now I think Taormina is great to visit, especially during the shoulder season. You'll see beautifully restored medieval buildings, wonderful views from every corner, and a network of winding streets with shops and bars and restaurants that make for a perfect holiday spot. The main attraction, which without a doubt is the Greek-Roman theatre, the Teatro Greco. Now home to many of the events such as plays, fashion shows, concerts, cinema festivals. So if you're lucky enough to visit during those times, it's just an added bonus. But the views from the theatre are quite spectacular, and overall nowhere near as busy as the rest of Italy. Orebro, Sweden. Now right in the heart of Sweden, probably a country that you're not visiting enough, you will find a beautiful city called Orebro, and it feels like a perfect mix of history and a lot of charm. So the standout feature here is the Orebro Castle, a centuries-old fortress that's surrounded by a peaceful moat. So walking through its halls will feel like stepping back in time, and the views of the city from the towers are incredible. There are other activities you can do on your trip to Sweden. Nearby there's an open-air museum, and it offers a quieter glimpse into the past. The cobblestone streets, the old wooden houses, and plenty of local shops where you might feel like you've wandered into another era. And for a relaxing afternoon, you can head to the park, which is actually one of Sweden's most beautiful parks. So it's the kind of place where you can relax by the river, have something to eat, or simply enjoy the flowers in bloom. And this destination you can definitely head to in the summer. Number 4. Dresden. Now I'm not sure why when people visit Germany they often miss out on this beautiful city. It's nicknamed the Florence on the Elbe, a vibrant riverfront city that's filled with Baroque and Rococo architecture. So a stroll through the old town will take you back to Dresden's opulent past, with its grand palaces and cathedrals and plenty of these historical sites which have been faithfully reconstructed since the end of World War II. And many of them actually display various treasures such as ancient weaponry, paintings by renowned artists. So for 2 centuries before its old town was reduced to a smouldering heap in 1945, it was actually acclaimed as the most beautiful city in Germany. But on top of that, you're just a short ride away from some of Germany's most stunning wilderness, such as the Saxon-Switzerland National Park. Don't miss out on this one. The next destination you may not have put on your possible list of holidays would be to visit Vaduz, the cozy capital of Liechtenstein. And by the way, they speak German or a kind of different dialect there, but it's a great pick for a laid-back European escape, and the kind of place where you can wander quiet streets and feel like you've stepped into a postcard. So make sure you check out Vaduz Castle, right up on the hill for some of the most amazing views of the Rhine Valley. Or even pop into an art and history museum for a bit of local culture. So it's small, easy to explore, and perfect as a chilled alternative to the busier Switzerland hotspots. Number 6, Aalborg, Denmark. So this is a city in the Jutland region of Denmark, and it's known for its revitalized waterfront on the Limfjord, the body of water that cuts through the Jutland. So this is an ancient city where Viking ships once sailed past on the Limfjord. But it's also evolved to a very vibrant hotspot, especially if you're looking for something different other than Copenhagen. So this city has plenty of Nordic designs which you can admire, or even wander the cozy streets of Aalborg's Old Town, which for me would be my favourite, because here is where you'll find some of the crooked houses from the 1600s. Number 7, Lavenham, England. It's located right in the heart of the Suffolk countryside, surrounded by ancient woodlands, and is an absolute great choice if you do head to London to go straight to Lavenham, because it's actually one of the most important and best preserved medieval villages in England. It was once the 14th wealthiest town in Tudor England, built on prosperity and power. You see, Lavenham wool manufacturers became famous for their striking blue cloth, but the prosperity didn't last very long, despite them building impressive timber frame homes with their newfound wealth. But the interesting thing is, those original timber frame buildings were left unchanged. Over 300 of these precious listed buildings are still protected and cared for today in Lavenham. So this is a great place to visit, as well as get a massive taste of history. Another easy day trip from either Budapest or Bratislava in Slovakia is to visit Gyor. which is a great choice for an alternative European getaway. Now, this river city is kind of like a treasure box of Baroque buildings boasting hundreds of architectural wonders. And I think you will be really impressed with the old town in Gyor. It's really picturesque, lined with winding lanes and charming corners. But you can also find numerous sculptures that adds that little bit of an extra nice touch. And eventually, you'll find yourself in front of the magnificent town hall. So this is a great option instead of visiting Vienna or Bratislava. Or you can use it as another opportunity for a less touristy day trip. One of the most underrated cities in Europe has to be Segovia in Spain. A surprisingly wonderful city that's often overlooked, maybe because it's located not so far away from Madrid, literally an hour by bus. But it's as different from Madrid as it can be. Surrounded by pretty high mountains, covered by snow in winter, it has very special architecture. A huge aqueduct right in the city centre, a castle somewhat resembling the Disney castles you see in the movies. It also has old medieval streets with plenty of beautiful churches and cathedrals. So once you do get to Segovia, you will start to feel like you're in an outside museum. The city just doesn't look like a real one at all. It kind of resembles a huge mock-up of what a fabulous medieval city would have been. Number 10, Morges, Switzerland. This is quite a unique destination, and it's situated along the serene shores of Lake Geneva. It's the kind of town that invites you to slow down and soak it all in. So it may not have the big city buzz of Lausanne or Geneva in Switzerland, but that's exactly its charm. Wandering through the streets, you'll come across the cozy cafes, the local shops, and overall that relaxed atmosphere that kind of feels easily inviting. So the lakefront is the highlight, offering stunning views of the Alps and a perfect spot to unwind. You also have the Chateau de Morges with its rich history, and it adds that right touch of character to this overall peaceful gem. And there you have it, folks. A lot of interesting choices for a quick city break, town break, however you want to call it, weekend trip. And I'm sure that you'll be pleasantly surprised how easily you're able to move around without having to wait for restaurants and attractions and things like that. A solid selection. I hope you enjoyed the video. Try to make it as interesting as possible, as well as try to steer you away from some of the more popular holiday locations. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you do like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.